All right, welcome back to the 80 Star Basketball Channel, the only Star Basketball channel. Finally, bringing you the 10 card Jordan set. I know I have been hounded on this for probably over, like, gosh, yeah, well over a year and 3 months. Almost immediately after I made the channel, people were clamoring for this one. There's a reason why, and I'm going to get to that. But yeah, today we're going to talk about this Jordan 10 card set, and we're going to talk about how to spot counterfeits. We're going to talk pop reports. We're going to talk my take on them, and we're going to talk just about any little interesting things that I could kind of dig up on them, which wasn't much, surprisingly. But we are going to give some background to them and kind of focus on, especially for around like counterfeits. But I just want to thank Anthony here for here's a picture of someone who has 4 bags, and they're really cool. The one thing I do want to note that on these bags is you can see these bags come in different flavors. And one of the flavors for them is you have this. It looks almost like it was, resealed or something, but it's not. It's actually just how Star did it. It doesn't look as good as some of the other seals, but from what I understand, this was a normal seal on these bags, but you can get different seals. So it is. They are legit. You have to know a little bit more and look into how the bags were sealed, but I'll talk about that when I get to a bag video. I want that for a future video. But this such a cool 10 cards of Jordan. Star did do this, did do specialized sets, and I'm going to show that. Like right here, they had major players. They had some Bird, and one of the ones they did was Jordan. They had Kareem and Magic, and so these star players. But Jordan, in the last year of Star, they made this 10 card set. And Basketball Gold is a great reference. And right here, you can see that it's really cool. They show the 9.5s in one of the showcasing on how they did things for going through all the images, and it's just really cool. But let's go ahead, and what I'd like to start off with is my take on these, and I'm going to say one thing negative, and it's going to be the only thing I say kind of negative. I know everyone loves these, and it's definitely a wonderful set, but there is a little bit of the negative that goes with the positive, and it's the question I get asked on it most often. Do I see these as a big value? Are these going to jump a lot? And my answer is you got to take the good with the bad. And here, the bad is the fact I don't think so. They will not jump as much as some other Jordans will, like the 101, simply because they're part of the kind of the same card and produced by 10, and they had possibly a 5K print run. And since that, there's kind of more like if you're looking for a type of card, they're a subset card, and they don't type as well because of that. They're never going to like jump insanely in value because they're simply just kind of more of their type. And by that, you can get a number 1 of 4, and they're still part of the 10 card Jordan set. So these are just basically more by the quantity of it. But there's a very good, that's kind of the only thing. If you ask me, I'm going to give you the honest answer. These I don't see jumping to big price increases or anything. And if you're, but do I see them as good value compared to other stuff and, other Jordans out there and everything? Absolutely. Star Jordans, though, these would probably, they have one good thing going for with that negative. And these are actually, and the good to that is that these are the most liquid because they're the most inexpensive of the cards. They're the demand for them is very high. It's kind of like you would say, oh, there's more demand for a Jordan 101. Yes, there is. But the problem with a 101 is not there's so much demand that the price can't keep up with it. Well, here you have enough of these that because there's a 1 through 10, it keeps the prices affordable. However, what that does is it creates, they're very, very liquid, they're very tradable. The demand for them is high, and they're obviously early Michael Jordan cards, and but they can be used for many things, trading, and people want them because they can get their hands on them. So that's the good side of that negative, is that they're probably the most liquid Michael Jordan star cards. So if you get your hands on one, there's definitely more people out there who can purchase this from you, and vice versa. You have more options in getting it, and putting these cards together. So that's kind of my take. I get that asked a lot. Do you think the 10 card set's going to jump in value? And I have to be honest, I don't think it's going to. I think it will increase over time. I think it's a fantastic set. So I'm not starting out with like being negative or anything. I'm just giving you my honest take as far as evaluation. However, it's a must have for any Jordan star collector, seriously. So let's get on to the good. However, with that, also, there is one catalyst for a price jump, and I'll get to that in a second. So let's look at first and start off with how these were printed. And this was on a sheet. The kind of the This was on. What's crazy about this? There's 12. These were all on one uncut sheet, together with the best of the new and the 117. I think I've shown this sheet before, and this one's kind of beat up and whatnot. But if you look at it, it essentially has the 117 right here, and obviously it's got the Ewing rookie, and it's got a couple of birds. This sheet is awesome. It is awesome. However, it was more prevalent than some of the other sheets because it was the last year of Star, so there weren't as many destroyed or uncared about. By the time he made this, he obviously cared about Michael Jordan a lot. Robert Levin, the owner, and he essentially kind of said, "Hey, I'm going to keep some of these sheets," and they had, which we'll get to in a second, type twos and whatnot. But this was obviously a pretty major thing that Jordan was at the time, and that's why he made the 10 card set. And so, with that being said, there's kind of conflicting. Sorry, I showed the pop reports here. Um, Basketball Gold says there is about 5,000 cards produced, and from what I understand, this is actually the number that was 5,000. Star Basketball, though, has it listed at 3,000. Now, what's weird is that the pop reports reflect more closer to the 3,000 because there's nothing that exceeds 1,000. So as far as in the pop, and we'll look at those in a little bit. But so that is an interesting note, that one says 5, one says 3, and you get that a lot with Star. How many were produced? Well, today, now, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is the pop reports. So that's definitely something to kind of look at. It is interesting that half are on one sheet. Almost all of the Star Jordans, again, that's just interesting. 12, are essentially right here. So a little close to half the Star Jordans. So again, PSA does not grade these. And now I'm going to kind of segue into the counterfeits, and the type twos. So, PSA does not grade, and CGC, which just announced they're going to be grading Star, they also will not grade. What I find interesting is they will not grade. CGC specifically calls out most all of this sheet right here that they will not grade. And I think the reason is because the type twos came out with this. Were specifically around this sheet right here, and for a reason, because there's so many Jordans on it. So, what are type twos, you ask? So, for the people who don't know, a type two was, and here's a great place to come, is to starbasketballcards.com as a resource. And you can look up right here how to spot type twos under their authentication guides. So it's right on the front page. You can click on the link of starbasketballcards.com, and it has spotting type twos. Really, all it's actually very simple. It comes down to one thing, and they use the Jordan 10 card set as an example to how to spot them. Is if you have this white border that bleeds out. So type twos essentially are not, they're not counterfeit cards and they're not fake cards. What they were is printing defects where essentially they said, hey, we're not going to keep these. We don't like them because there's the bleed all around this white border. It all comes out and it was too fuzzy and it goes all the way around. So they decided that they were going to take those sheets and throw them away. So what happened was a print employee actually got them and took them home, cut them up, and then sold them. So that's actually what these are. So here's the difference: is you can see the type 2 right here where it's fuzzy all around the border, and then here's what a normal one will look like. It will have whitening. What makes this a little difficult and why I don't think PSA and CGC are grading them yet is that it's because it's so close to what it was here. To us, I think it's pretty easy to spot. There's just a little bit of the white going outside the borders for some of it, but not all of it. Look how it's all in the black line right here. You don't see any of that white bleed out. And you don't see it up here until you get to about right here. Then it starts to bleed out, and it'll generally only be on one side. But like this line will be perfectly intact. So it might be that they're a little too, because they both guarantee their slabs, meaning they will pay if fakes get in. That is why I think the hesitancy is there. However, this also creates kind of like, again, with the bad, with the good. Because of this, and they haven't graded, when they do, and if they do start, that will be a catalyst for a price pop on these, because all of a sudden people are going to start crossing them over. And when things get in PSA slabs, the demand is going to be greater. So these actually do have a catalyst for a price pop. Do I think they're going to go insane? No. Again, I'm going to go back to what I said. Do I see these as, something that's going to jump hugely in value? I do not. However, these definitely could get a nice percentage spike because of this. So that is something to keep in mind. And that is how to spot type twos of anything really. Also on the 117, and any other cards that you might have a type 2 for. So, that's the one main thing to look out for, and, the kind of the printing of them and what happened there. So, let's go through them one at a time, and we're going to talk about each one. And for this one, we're going to okay. Actually, I'm going to close that right there to get rid of. So they in Star Basketball cards, they show each one, and but they have the same description, so there's no like information. So I kind of gathered. I asked in one of the groups I'm in for some information, and with a lot of people in it, and I didn't get anything earth shattering. Just some things that I kind of already knew. And a little bit of tidbits, but so I'll share those and for each one, and then we'll go look at the pop reports for each one. But the first one is number one, and I'm going to kill everything right here, and I'm going to make all of you go, huh? And I'm going to have to say this is my absolute favorite one right here is card number one. Why? Because it's different. He's not in a Bulls uniform, and that is a very retro 80s way to wear the, wear the warm-ups, and it doesn't have anything Bulls. I just thought it was so cool. And this was actually the first Star Jordan card that I ever picked up, was this one right here, because I thought it was so cool. So I love this. So there, the fantasy of me picking one of the dunking ones is gone, because this is my fave. And it's just, I think it's so cool. The pop report to it, now generally when you have the first card, there's generally a lower pop, so that does account for the fact that they're all basically right around 900, with some a little higher and some a little lower. But if you took like the average, there's like a 900 for each card. And remember, this is the only pop report that there is. CGC and PSA do not have it. One other thing to note is there is, it seems, a couple of uncorrected errors. Someone point out number 2 and 4, and also you can find variations with a blank back. People ask, "Hey, is the blank back one worth more?" And I haven't seen a premium put on them ever. I think they're just more of a novelty thing. They're definitely rare by any stretch, but just they're kind of, I don't see any big, huge premium put onto blank backs. But so again, you're generally looking at about a 900 average. And for card number one, you have 876 right here. So that's kind of the total pop. And then you can look at the breakdown right here. And one more time, since PSA and CGC just started, so really it just would have been PSA at this point, since we don't have any copies yet. You get all of your population report right here in one shot. The second card, collegiate stats, over here. Again, I didn't get any interesting information too, but we got 930. And number 3, this is obviously a pretty well-known image of Jordan, Olympian, been in some documentaries, or for where you saw that some of the TV shows. But this and that one have kind of the same pop count, 931, only one more, so pretty much the exact same. And then this one's a little interesting. Number 4, someone did mention that it has an uncorrected error for the totals on the back, which this one is, and let me pull up my notes. For the 85-86, it's listed as 27.8 right here, but actually it was 22.7. And then this 27.2 total right here is wrong. But it's not listed in Beckett. Beckett didn't catch that, but that does look incorrect. And so that's an uncorrected error, kind of like card number 2 right here has it listed in uncorrected error for the field goals made. Sorry, I forgot to point that out on number 2. But so 4 and 2. However, there is one thing I knew kind of already, in that there is a premium on the dunking cards, and that would make a lot of sense, from a collector's point of view. They love, images. It matters to some people. For which one, and obviously the officer the image, the greater the demand, and overall. So that's one of him dunking in just an awesome shot in the dunk contest. So that's definitely up there, and kind of has a premium to the card. So let's go, and that's obviously right here, number 4. Number 5, let's go look at the All-Star. I actually really like this card too. Why? Is because it has George Gervin and Kareem on it. And just being, at that mid 80s and starting to really love basketball, those names were then, and it's been a long time since we talked about those guys. So, just kind of interesting. But, for the All-Star card, we have 937. So we have a bit more for that card that I really like. Number 6, the Rookie of the Year, 903. And we'll look at that image right here. Actually, I like that card too. And another dunk card, but apparently this one doesn't have as high of a premium, and because it's not in the dunk contest, but I actually think this card's pretty dang cool. And that's has 888, so that's a little less on the pop. And now we're going to get to 2 of the next, which do drop a little bit in the pop report. And some people were mentioning that it is a rumor, possibly true, possibly not. So I have no idea, but I am going to mention it because the pop report does reflect a little that number 8 and number 9 were not in some bags. So they were not included in distribution. However, we're talking about probably a 7%, maybe 8% differential in percentage right here. So I don't know if it matters a ton, but it's definitely existent. And then last, so those are those 2 right here, 8 and 9. These 2 that might be a little bit, I don't want to call them short printed, but short distributed, possibly. And the pop reports do reflect a lower number. Number 1, I would expect to have a lower number because those get damaged more often. So I would expect this number 1 card to be actually the least graded because of damage and or being lost, simply being the top card. But these two, the data does show something's perhaps a little bit up with these two. Lastly, one of the Dunk ones that has a premium in the market, obviously an incredible photo again, and it has 898, again, just a hair under the 900 kind of average per se. So that's the only tidbits I kind of picked up as far as interesting things to hear and things to know. So again, my take, obviously, just an amazing set, and it's a must have for any Jordan collector, and very very liquid. And just a really really cool photos of MJ. Finally, they kind of got some really some great dunking photos other than CK26, near and dear to my heart. But these photos are awesome, and just now kind of highlighted Jordan's popularity at the time. So definitely affordable, and definitely a must have for any Jordan collector. So if you have anything interesting to add, go ahead and add it in the comments. And but that's what we got for the Jordan 10 card set, and our kind of this card spotlight. And I will see you at the next video.